Hello and welcome to the Nant-y-Foel Model Railway. I hope you've all had a wonderful Christmas because I definitely have. A little bit of a different video this week because it's been Christmas, all the shops are shut and I don't have all of the things I need to continue on with my shelf layout. So instead we're going to do another review. What are we reviewing? Well, it's this. This is the Bachmann 158 Transport for Wales sound fitted. Now, I've wanted to have one of these 158s since they were first announced. You know, we've had barely any Transport for Wales stuff in model form. Soon to change with the 150s and the 175s and the 153s. We're getting the whole, we're getting everything. I think next year, aren't we? Anyway, when these were first announced, they were the first Transport for Wales stuff in 00, I believe. I was very excited to get them. I went to have a look at the price and brace yourself, it was £440, and that is way too much for me. You know, it's two coaches, for goodness sake. You know, £400, that's a lot. If I'm not willing to pay 400 quid, why have I got one today? Well, I found this second-hand on Facebook Marketplace. It looked absolutely brilliant, in pristine condition, and the best thing about it was the price. They were selling it for £180, and that's what I bought this at. So I'm very happy with that, because for any DCC loco, you know, whatever it is, 140 is a bargain nowadays. Anyway, it is, of course, second-hand. It's not a brand new model, so I won't critique it as a brand new model, because it isn't. But I'm still going to be quite fair in my review of this. But regardless, let's get it out of the box and see how it is. Rightio, let's get it out of the box. We've got standard packaging for Bachmann, which is pretty alright. Let's move that out of the way. This sort of ice cube packaging, which I like, to be fair. I think it's very good. It is very good packaging. What's this? Product warranty. Put that to one side for now. And we'll get the other one out. We have our literature, which I will read in just a moment. But let's get this out, shall we? I put that over. Now, from what I have read, both of these have got speakers and they are both motorised, both units here. This one I'm going to call the female unit because of the female connector socket. But they do look very good, don't they? Now, for a second-hand model, it's in very good nick. There is, well, not a nick or scratch on this, so I'm very pleased with that. Is that that's just dust? There we go. Right, shall we look at the other one? I have to confess, these. Ooh, what's this? We have got some accessories. Interesting. Did the other one have accessories as well? Whoops. It did, the other one does. I wonder what that black thing is. Anyway. But yes, they are both the same. I might have just picked up the same one here. No, I haven't. This one is the, I'm going to call the male version. We have the different connector socket here. To connect them both together. The coupling, that's the word. I'm not too sure how many pins this is. I think it's a 14 pin. Is that? I can't really see from here. Anyway, I've never really coupled one of these, what do you call them? I've never really coupled one of these couplers before, so I'm not too sure how good they are going to be, how easy they're going to be, but we'll find out. Again, they're in very good nick, so I'm very happy with them. They do feel quite light. That is my only concern with this. they do feel quite light. But considering they've got a speaker and a considering they've got a speaker and a motor, and they've also got a quite detailed interior as well, I'm not too sure if you can see inside. We'll put it on the track and we'll get the interior lights if it's got them, which I do think it does. I'm just going to read the literature here, and I will be right back. Okay, so I've had a quick look at the literature, and basically all you need to know is if I get, oopsie daisies, if I get a stick, here might help if I was out of the camera, wouldn't it? Here and around there are some, I'm not too sure how well you can see that, there we go. So here and a couple bits around, we've got some holes, and if you were using this either on a complete straight, on a dead straight, or as a static model, you can fit the extra detailing which would sort of foul with the coupling here. But obviously we're going to be using this coupling, so we are not going to fit them. The underside detailing on this is also very good. I just want to point out there is actually quite a fair bit of detailing on here. If I show you up close, we have a lot of detailing, you know, printed parts and whatever on here. By the doors as well. Everything does look very, very nice. Something that I have noticed though is this. This is a clear piece of plastic, which I am hoping that is going to light up, because otherwise I'm not too sure why they've done that. Normally they are painted, they're painted orange, aren't they? So I am hoping that's going to light up. I am hoping for some interior lighting. I'm not too sure if you can see inside, but I think I can see some LEDs in there, and that would be nice because this looks like quite a good interior. You can see we've got even down to the luggage racks and everything inside. I am quite happy with that. The front, I mean, that looks pretty alright as well. We do have this sort of, what are they called? I can't remember what they're called. The couplers anyway. I was going to tell you what name of the coupler there are. This does work apparently, so if we have another, if we use the other unit, for example, here, you can couple them up. I'm not going to do that because I know it's quite a pain to take these off. But that's quite good. This does look like the coupler that they supply with the 150, so I'm going to test that out later on. But apart from that, I'm very happy with all of this. Okay, well, let's couple them together. Now for that, they give you this sort of coupling bar. It's got this sort of wedge piece, so you can uncouple them, and then you can sort of push the coupler somehow. Anyway, let's try and do it. Now I've never really, I might have to do this off camera because I don't want to bend any of the pins, so I might do this off camera. Okay, so that in the middle is the coupler. I found this very difficult to couple up, hence why it's on a piece of foam on its side. If I just tilt this up here, that is the actual coupler there. It is obscenely large. I'm not 100% happy with it, but it's a compromise that I'm willing to have. We've compromised the sort of looks of the thing for functionality, which is fine by me. I don't mind that at all. I'll show you in a minute the 150 drawbar that it's got and how that, you know, looks different to this. This is huge, but it does have all of those pins, which means that we've got dual motor, dual speaker. We've got all the functionality you want. We've got the lighting. We have head and tail lights, but also we've got the day and night as well. We have everything you could want. So I'm not too unhappy with that. but it is the only thing that really sort of is a bit of a drawback on this model. Now if I show you the 150 that we've got here, that is the coupler there. It's more of a drawbar. That does have electricity that goes through, but the only thing that it can do is the head and tail lights. Does it do the interior lighting? I'm not too sure. This doesn't even have interior lighting anyway, but it can only do sort of head and tail lights, which is a bit naff, if I'm going to be completely honest. I'd much rather have the functionality, but have it look horrible. So I'm not too unhappy with it. Speaking of couplers, the one thing that I've noticed on this is the sort of dummy coupler here. Now, according to the literature, this works, and I have tested it. You'll have to trust me on that. You can couple a 158 to another 158. Now, this is kinematic, so it will go around corners. It is brilliant. Now, I noticed that this coupler looks awfully like the couplers that are supplied with the 153s. And in fact, here's one I've got from earlier. You can see here, the coupler looks very, very similar. So, can we couple them up together? Well, the answer is yes. We can couple them together, and they stick together. So if you've got a 158 and you want to couple it up to a 150, you can. Now that is amazing news, because Bachmann have recently announced they will be doing a Transport for Wales 150. So that means that in the future we can run the 158s and 150s together, just like how they used to do. So that's very exciting. The only downside to this, which is not it's not a fault of the 158, but you can't put the snowplow underneath, which is that's annoying. But never mind. So let's have a look at the train in a little bit more detail, shall we? The chassis looks brilliant. I love the amount of detail that we've been able to, Bachmann have been able to put in this. Looking at the real thing in photos, and of course in person as well, that looks brilliant. It looks bang on how it should be. I'm a fan of all of the sort of printed detail that we've got on here. Everything looks very crisp and sharp, and I think that's going to be the story of the whole train, to be honest, because everything does look incredibly good. What we've got here is the lovely printing. I'm not too sure how well you can see this on camera, but I can see it in person. For the Trefnidiaeth Cymru Transport for Wales, we can see every individual break in the letter. They've got a kind of like a stencil sort of typeface, and you can see every sort of break in the letter. It's brilliant. The crispness of the sort of printing on this is brilliant. It looks very good. So, looking at the front, one of the things that I absolutely love is that everything here is behind glass. We've got this sort of warning sticker, that's behind the glass. All of the lights are behind the glass. We've got this sort of destination board, which really sticks out behind the glass. That looks brilliant. I absolutely love the fact that everything is behind the glass. It's something that gives the 158s that sort of unique look that they have. If we compare that again to the older 90s version, sort of move that out of the way there, where we can see all the bulbs, the sort of destination board is non-existent there, but it just doesn't really look it doesn't have the same sort of characteristic there. And I think that is something that I really do like about what Bachmann have done. They've pulled it off incredibly well, is what I'm trying to say. The other thing I want to point out here is they haven't used a separately fitted part for this sort of handrail here, and I think that's a good thing. This looks very, very nice. They've been able to sort of add sort of the extra detail of where it attaches to the body there. That looks good. Looking at the 90s model, it's a wire, but it just doesn't really have that same kind of impact. It just looks a bit naff. But yeah, I like what they've done here. It really looks good. The only thing I think could be a little bit better maybe are the windscreen wipers. They look a bit thick, a little bit bulky maybe. They could be a little bit thinner. I think that might improve it a little bit. But all in all, the front looks brilliant, and that's exactly what you want for a train, isn't it? So I've talked a lot about the positives, but what are some of the things that I'm not so much of a fan of? Well, there are sort of three things really. Now, this is the Transport for Wales version, of course. Now, these are fitted with ETCS, the sort of in-cab signalling system. Now, why do I bring that up? Well, I have a feeling that because of the ETCS, there are some slight differences for the actual units that Transport for Wales run. And the first ones are, I'm not too sure what they are. I suspect that they're radio sort of antenna. And there's one about here, one about there, and then the same on the other unit as well. They are not present on this, on any of them, of any sort of cars, which is a little bit of a shame that Bachmann haven't put it on. I understand why they might not have put it on, because it's a sort of Transport for Wales only kind of thing. But considering the price, I would have liked to have seen that. The other thing, which is a little bit more noticeable than roof detailing, is the Transport for Wales units have got here a line which goes from the top around the windows down, across and down. Now, I presume that's a sort of like a panel gap or so. I honestly have no idea what it is, but once it's pointed out to you, it's really obvious. And to me, seeing those units like that, this just looks too bare. It looks barren. It does look like there's something missing, and well, there is. Again, I understand if Bachmann don't want to put this sort of moulded detail on there, but I would expect at least a sort of printed black line, you know. But there's nothing there. Okay. I suppose I can sort of get over those. They're Transport for Wales specific. I haven't seen another train which has those characteristics. But the other thing that I want to point out here, which I'm not too happy about, is the cab detail. Now, for the price of this train, I would expect something, and we've got nothing. There is no cab detail in this. You've got a chair and you've got a sort of block for a desk, but that's it. There's no handles. There's not even printed dials or anything. There is nothing in there. That's a big letdown for me. It's a really big letdown. If you're going to put lights in here to light something up, you at least want something to light up. There's nothing in there. An empty cab is ridiculous, honestly. You've got a Cura scale there. I've got a Class 60 just in the background there. The cab detail of that Class 60 is outstanding. You've got a lit dash, which is, I think, sort of become a standard for a Cura scale now. But you've got handles, you've got your kind of levers, your dials, everything. Here, you don't even have moulded. Nothing's moulded. It's a flat desk. That is for me, I think that's ridiculous. I'm not happy with that at all. I would have at least wanted to see some moulded detail in there, even if it's just, you know, two levers for the throttle and brake. But to have nothing, yeah, I think that's a bit ridiculous, especially considering the price. So I've talked a lot about the positives, but what are some of the things that I'm not so much of a fan of? Well, there are sort of three things really. Now, this is the Transport for Wales version, of course. Now, these are fitted with ETCS, the sort of in-cab signalling system. Now, why do I bring that up? Well, I have a feeling that because of the ETCS, there are some slight differences for the actual units that Transport for Wales run. And the first ones are, I'm not too sure what they are. I suspect that they're radio sort of antenna. And there's one about here, one about there, and then the same on the other unit as well. They are not present on this, on any of them, of any sort of cars, which is a little bit of a shame that Bachmann haven't put it on. I understand why they might not have put it on, because it's a sort of Transport for Wales only kind of thing. But considering the price, I would have liked to have seen that. The other thing, which is a little bit more noticeable than roof detailing, is the Transport for Wales units have got here a line which goes from the top around the windows down, across and down. Now, I presume that's a sort of like a panel gap or so. I honestly have no idea what it is, but once it's pointed out to you, it's really obvious. And to me, seeing those units like that, this just looks too bare. It looks barren. It does look like there's something missing, and well, there is. Again, I understand if Bachmann don't want to put this sort of moulded detail on there, but I would expect at least a sort of printed black line, you know. But there's nothing there. Okay, I suppose I can sort of get over those. They're they're Transport for Wales specific. I haven't seen another train which has those characteristics. But the other thing that I want to point out here, which I'm not too happy about, is the cab detail. Now, for the price of this train, I would expect something, and we've got nothing. There is no cab detail in this. You've got a chair, and you've got a sort of block for a desk, but that's it. There's no handles. There's not even printed dials or anything. There is nothing in there. That's a big letdown for me. It's a really big letdown. If you're going to put lights in here to light something up, you at least want something to light up. There's nothing in there. An empty cab is ridiculous, honestly. You've got a Cura scale there. I've got a Class 60 just in the background there. The cab detail of that Class 60 is outstanding. You've got a lit dash, which is, I think, sort of become a standard for a Cura scale now. But you've got handles, you've got your kind of levers, your dials, everything. Here, you don't even have moulded. Nothing's moulded. It's a flat desk. That is, for me, I think that's ridiculous. I'm not happy with that at all. I would have at least wanted to see some moulded detail in there, even if it's just, you know, two levers for the throttle and brake. But to have nothing, yeah, I think that's a bit ridiculous, especially considering the price. Rightio, so I've just put her on the tracks, and we'll go through some of the functions. Now, I'll just leave that there so you can have a quick read of those. I think obviously the first thing is probably to plug in my controller. That will always help, won't it? There we go. First thing to do then is number 0, which is the directional lights. Rightio, so hopefully you can see this properly. If you press 0, we have the lights, and obviously change direction, we have the tail lights. Now we can also change that with number 14. We have the nighttime, and we also have the daytime lighting there. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, shall we turn on the sound? The sound is all right. I'm not going to say it's the best thing in the world. I was sort of hoping when they said twin speaker. To me, it sounds like it's 2 of the exact same speakers. I was rather hoping that you would have one high, one low. I'm not too sure if that's the case, but possibly the speakers might be a little bit better, or could be a little bit better even. Now, obviously, with all things, this is a microphone picking up sounds from a speaker, so it is always going to sound worse on camera than it is in real life. But the sound itself is all right. It's all right. Okay, so shall we, first of all, see how she runs? Now, obviously, we have about 4 inches here, but once we've got a proper layout, I'll do a review again. I'm quite happy with that. It does sound very realistic. I'm very happy with the sounds, but I think that the quality could always be a little bit better. Okay, shall we go through some of the other functions then? Have number 4 for the horn. Lovely. We have a light engine mode. I'm not too sure what that exactly means, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. We obviously have the flange squeal number 7. We have doors opening and closing. That is on number 8. And if you can just see here, if I shade it from the light, maybe you'll be able to see it a little bit better. We do in fact have lights, the door interlock lights. They do illuminate, and that is on both of them. That is absolutely amazing. If you press 8 again. That's brilliant. That's amazing. I've never seen that in a model before. I'm very impressed with that. Number 9 is the passenger compartment lights. Okay, they're quite dim, aren't they? Can you see? Probably not. Let me turn off the lighting. They're quite dim, actually, if I'm going to be completely honest there. I think they look a lot more dim on the camera than they do in real life, but they are quite dim. You know, these would have been sort of proper light bulbs. You know, if it was a gas lamp, I would go, yeah, all right, that's fair enough. Yeah, I think they could be done with being a little bit brighter there, but hey ho. I might turn the sound off just for a minute, just so I don't have to shout as high. The interior detail on this is absolutely amazing. That is, I think, probably one of the most impressive things about this model. The interior detail on this is absolutely superb. What I like about the detail inside there is how fine everything is. Everything's very fine. Even over here you can see the luggage racks. They look brilliant. It does look brilliant. I do think this is a very good model of the 158s here. Oh, we also have the guards buzzers. Let's have a look. Which numbers are they? That's number... Might need to put the sound on for that, won't I? Yes, the lighting is alright. What you can see though, and I don't think you'll be able to see it from the camera from here, that's pretty good. I do like that. So obviously we can sort of simulate a doors opening and closing. I do like that. I do like that indeed. What other things? One amazing thing that we can do though, if I switch the direction here, hopefully that's done. On which one was it now? Number 15. Number 15. We can actually turn on, again, I'm not too sure how well you can see this. I will turn off the main lights. There we go. Not too sure how well you can see it, but we do actually have the rear cab lights you can turn on, which is absolutely amazing, especially if you want to put a guard in there. But yes. Not too sure. I think I might have to give the windows a bit of a clean. I think that's possibly why they're a little bit dim. But it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Needs a few passengers though, doesn't it? I think another thing that we can test is how bright our tail lamps are, and I'm not too sure how well you can see this on camera, but the tail lamps are not too bright, which is something I find really annoying. Sometimes you'll have these tail lights which are as bright as headlights, and I find them so unrealistic. The headlights, we've got a cool white, which is good, that's how they are, and I quite like the brightness on them as well. I think they're quite good. So let me just turn on the lights again. So what do I think? Well, I'm not going to give it a proper critique because, again, this is a second-hand model. I'm not going to rate it as I would if it was a brand new one. But I think it's an absolutely brilliant unit even. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I'm going to say it will probably become one of my favourites to run on the layout. Personally, I love the 158s. The model of it, I think, captures the sort of feel of the 158 very, very well. Lots and lots of separately detailed parts. Brilliant. Is it worth £440? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is a ridiculous price. Even for Bachmann standards, that is a ridiculous price for that train. Yes, it's got a lot of features. It's got the dual motor, it's got the dual speaker, but then the speakers, I'm going to be honest, were a bit naff. There's a lot of high tones, not that much low tones, so I think it's probably a case of they're two of the same speaker, rather than you've got your sort of sugar box speaker and your a big sort of bassy speaker. It is what it is. It's the only real thing that I think is sort of letting it down. Well, that's just about it. I do hope you enjoyed that. Something a little bit different from what I've been doing as of late. It's absolutely freezing, so I've just put a jacket on. Hopefully we'll get back on track next week with the layout, with the shelf layout. It's been Christmas, New Year's. I haven't really been feeling very good this week as well, so that's why there's been no videos for a while. I was planning on making some, but I thought, stuff it. I'm gonna have a good time. I hope you've all had a good time as well, and a good new year. We've got a whole new bunch of new subscribers, so I do really do thank each and every one of you for subscribing. It's so amazing to see the channel kind of grow in the way that it has, especially in sort of few couple months really. It's been brilliant, and I hope that this year is going to be quite a good one. I've got a couple plans on what I want to do now, so it's just cracking on with it and hoping for the best. Next week, though, I'm going to hope to continue on with the shelf layout. The next thing to do is not scenery, as I said in my last video. It will be the track work, because let's face it, there's no trains without track. So that's the most important priority. I need to still go and get some wire, some cables, but of course, because of being New Year's and Christmas, all the shops have been shut. So that's another reason for why there's not been a video in quite some time. But yes, I think I will leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and a happy New Year to all of you. Goodbye.